Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 3, where we have been working on our economy here a little bit, and we definitely need to continue to grow it. Now, I've moved around some things in the list here. You might notice some things that appear to be new, like this tobacco plantation and government administration. Both of these were in Azerbaijan, and they were queued up and in Azerbaijan. Hang on. Here's Azerbaijan. Both of these were queued up and partially completed while this was rebelling. So these were not actually added to the list new, they are partially completed. I just moved them up the list because they were partially completed. So I've done a little bit of rearranging here, and we'll work our way through this. Hopefully, we'll find ourselves out of deficit fairly soon. We've only got a deficit of about 6k right now, but I do suspect that that's going to get worse over time. So we'll see how that ends up going. A lot of our government wages are still up there. Okay, we're currently running a surplus. I expect that to go away. We'll see what ends up happening with that. Yeah, this is more like it. So that's okay. For the time being, we're just going to work on getting these completed. We got a lot of those done. We're down to 20k now. Okay, that's spicy. 20k negative is a lot. We may be forced to pause construction at a certain point. There's Central Archives finishing. Okay, so with Central Archives finishing, that is actually a big deal. That gets us taxation capacity, and you can see that was a big change in our finances. So to that end, I want to take a quick look specifically at our government administrations. We can now change the number of government administrations that are queued up. We do not need one in Kuban. Let's see here. Government administrations. There we go. We do not need one in Url anymore. We do not need one in Okhotsk. We can get rid of that. In Tomsk, we don't need 2 additional for the moment. And actually, we haven't gone to standardized filing system yet. We may want to consider doing that, too. So Explosives Factory could go down to ammonia soda process, which I'm going to do. Bone China, I'm not going to do just yet. That will destroy the price of porcelain and skyrocket the price of glass. I don't feel like that's worth it at this moment. But I want to come down to... Where's our government administrations in this list? Am I just blind? Possibly. Possibly. Gold mines should absolutely go to condensing engine pumps and nitroglycerin. Absolutely. This is going to increase mortality rates, but I do think that this is worthwhile. So we're going to bump all of that up, and that will help what's the... Wow, I cannot remember the name. Fertilizer plants? That's the one. That'll help them. Okay. Rail transportation in Azerbaijan? Yes, do it. I'm aware that this will cause some issues, but that'll be fine for the moment. So that looks good. Now, where is our government administrations? They're under development now. Right, that makes sense. I'm okay with them being there. So we're going to go to standardized filing systems, and this is going to be very painful temporarily. So now we can go through here, and we can look at each of these. 65 bureaucracy and 15 taxation capacity per level. Okay. So, of course, in Perm, now we don't need any of these. Let's see. In Novgorod, we only need 1. In Astrakhan, we do not need any of these. Okay. In Transbaikal, we only need 1 for the moment. That'll need expansion soon. In Smolensk, we need 2. But we can definitely dial back on all of this, so that is very good. In Galich, we need 2. There we go. And in Smolensk, yeah, we need +2. That's correct. So next up in Samara, we only need 2 at this point. Although that will need expansion fairly soon. In Moscow, we're going to need 4, not 18. So that is a significant gain for us. In Uzbekia, we're going to need, let's see, 83 divided by 15. So 30 is 2, of course. So then 60, we're going to need basically 6. Yeah, we'll take this back down to 6. That'll be fine. In Tver, we're going to need pretty much 7. So that's fine. In Kazan, this is going to need to be over 10. It's going to need to be 11, to be precise. So we can back this down to 11. Then in Saratov, this is going to need to be... Let's see here. It's going to need to be, I think, 13? If I did my mental math correctly there. We'll see. That may or may not be correct. And if that's the case, then this should be like 14 or 15. I'll just take it down to 14, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. Now, we're going to be quite negative here for a little bit. Our unrealized taxes will likely tick up somewhat. But there we go. That should be significantly shorter in the construction queue. And indeed it is. So that is good. We'll finish up this coal mine in Moscow. -2? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. How are we doing on the price of paper? Price of paper is at plus 22%. Okay, I'm not shocked about that. We should probably consider getting 2 additional paper mills in Moscow as a high priority. Are we building a railway in Moscow right now? I see we're at negative infrastructure there. The answer is we are not. In Norland, how are we doing on our employment? No one is employed in Norland right now. Okay, so that's -13. So this would be... Well, actually, what's the infrastructure level? 20? Yeah, so this will be fine. Here, we can probably bump this up by 1, except that there's no employees here. So, again, that will just need to be what it is. In Moscow, we'll need to bump this up. Okay. Should be something along the lines of that. That should be fine. And I'm going to move these up, but I'm going to intersperse them because they are low efficiency. So we'll do something along the lines of that. Cool. So we've got that underway. Our deficit is improved. Now it's positive. That's a really good sign. So organized crime, we're not going to put money into this. We have to take the authority hit. We're not happy about that, for sure, but we do have to take the authority hit. So that means that we have -1 opposition interest group approval and a little bit more radicalism from standard of living decreases. Our standard of living decreases are not ideal under any circumstances, but let's finish that tobacco plantation in Azerbaijan. And from there, those paper mills are going to help our costs somewhat. I want to check real quick here. How are we doing on that paper? 18, 17. Okay, so we're expanding our paper a decent amount here. We can see that explosives are pretty expensive, and I'm not surprised about that. Also expensive is ammunition. Okay, let's work on explosives and ammunition then. So in our industry, let's grab a munitions plant. And where are we going to end up building this? Well, this is currently negative in its earnings, but where do we already have them? Moscow? Okay, we'll build 2 there, and then our fertilizer plants in Saratov, actually Transbaikal. We already have 1 being built by private construction, so I'm only going to build 1 here. Okay, we'll get those underway. Yes, we're struggling financially. There's no doubt about that. Subsidies are not a lot of this. Really, it's goods for government buildings, right? Primarily paper. So I'm going to move up these paper mills. That supplying additional paper will be good. In search of a better life, huh? Okay, so we have the emergency relief decree. Yes, we've toned down on the number of victims. So that's all well and good. We definitely need to continue to develop our economy here because we're very, very close to default on our loans, and we don't want to default. Actually, what would happen if we did default? Hypothetically, what's the penalty for that? I mean, when we're in default, it's a problem, right? But what happens if we actually, like, bankruptcy? Can we not do that until we're in default? That might be the case. We do have a lot of unrealized taxes, of course, and we would love to get those. Repeaters have now just been unlocked, so that'll give us repeating rifles for arms industries, which will be... Arms industries are not the biggest of problems right now. Yeah, we don't need the small arms at this moment, and that will skyrocket the price of steel. So I think for the moment, we're not going to do that. But we are going to be interested in doing that eventually. For the time being, we've got bigger problems, of course. And this area is currently isolated, so we really should be prioritizing that port as, like, top priority here. So we'll get going on that. Our deficit is a problem. There's no doubt about it. We cannot go to war with anybody while our deficit is what it is. So our infamy is still ticking down. We have a little bit of time here, but we definitely are interested in dealing with this. Mechanized workshops have just been unlocked, giving us economy of scale building level cap, which is good. That also means that we have 3 new production methods to evaluate. So let's hop into our buildings here, and let's take a look at what these would end up doing. So sewing machines would be positive. Yes, we're going to do that. We can also go to mechanized looms. That would be negative due to the price of tools. For the moment, that's okay. We can go to mechanized workshops for our furniture manufactories, and that is positive. So we'll do that for the moment as well. And for glassworks, we really need the glass. And we don't really need the porcelain. So we're still not going to do that. Mechanized looms is interesting if we were able to get some tool development done. I think for the moment, that's not really a thing. I think for the moment, we'll come back to that. So that'll be fine for now. And we're going to have this port done in 10 weeks, which would be good. And we're going to have a paper mill done in 8 weeks. Knowledge of baking powder is spreading to us. Okay. Keep in mind, we can always pause our construction, and once we do, we're going to be paying off our debt quite quickly, but we would prefer to not pause our construction and just pay off our debt that way. That would be ideal. So let's hop into our institutions here and see what we have available. We could definitely bump up our home affairs, and I think that's worth doing. We can also bump our law enforcement all the way up to the top. We have a lot of surplus of bureaucracy right now, and that does give us state construction efficiency, which is good. But I do want to work through some of this. Okay, so minus 4K is not so bad of a deficit, but it is going to be moving around all the time. We're going to have some paper mills finishing up shortly, which is good. We definitely do need more paper production. And we do have these input goods shortages in a couple of places. Yeah, market access, ammunition, explosives, steel, and glass. So I wouldn't mind constructing some additional tooling workshops. I don't really want to build these in Moscow. I'm going to put 2 in Saratov, tooling workshops. And then we're going to put in, what else was in the expensive list? We're working on ammunition right now. We're working on explosives right now. Steel and glass. Okay, so 2 steel mills in Saratov. And then in Ingria, no, in Earl, I'm going to put in 2 glassworks. Okay, so now we're going to move these back up to the top. Something along the lines of this. Okay, so we'll get working on that. These paper mills are starting to finish up, which will, of course, reduce the price of paper, which would be good for us. We're running a coal shortage and an engines shortage, but that's in our isolated area. So for now, that's not too bad. We are currently running a teeny tiny surplus. We'll see if that sticks around. It did not. Okay, so we're now connected over here again, so that's good. Their turmoil is very, very high, which isn't shocking, but that will start to come down as their standard of living starts to recover. They were isolated from our market, so yeah, it's going to be bad. That's not shocking in the slightest. Okay, so a fertilizer plant is going to be finishing in about 11 weeks. We're also going to have one from our private construction finishing up extremely shortly. So we have a few transportation shortages. We have some market access issues. Explosives, ammunition, and now ironclads are considered expensive. Okay. However, we are currently running a small surplus. We'll see if that sticks around, but last time it didn't. Yeah, it dips back down. Okay, this is oscillating back and forth, which isn't super shocking at this point. It's a good sign, actually, that it's oscillating back and forth the way it is. So that is very, very good, really. It truly is good. This is less good. 10K? That's a bit yikes. That said, if we look at what we're currently consuming for construction, we can see in here, iron is 60K, wood is 26K. Iron production might not be a bad idea. That would probably go after the tooling workshops, so we would end up doing... Let's see here. This will be resources. Right. Iron mines. And then this would end up being, say, 5 of these. Iron production would not be bad. And then we can just move all of these guys up, like so. And the iron mines just kind of slot in down over here. And this railway in Moscow should be a high priority as well. So we'll get that being worked on. This is all working on direct economic... Ooh. Who would we rather have good relations with, Romania or Norway? Well, Norway is technically under our control. So we'll accept the donations of Norway. That'll be fine. Excellent. So we're going to have a fertilizer plant finishing in a week here. Keeping an eye on our expenses here. Yep, explosives are still expensive. That should start trending downward. Eventually. Ish. Downward-ish. But for now, that'll be fine. We have a couple of munitions plants finishing up soon, which, of course, ammunition is still expensive. I want to check in how much are we actually paying for ammunition right now. So if we look in here, 12.1k. That's not a huge amount, but it would be good to reduce. So that seems fine for the moment. Okay. So constructions are proceeding. We're doing okay. We can continue to run a deficit for a little bit here. We will fill that up pretty soon. We definitely don't want to go to war at this moment. We have to get our economy a little bit more under control. But we are seeing our economy really starting to grow as we're focusing on it here, so that is a good sign. We're almost back up to our peak, and that is great. We had a general die. Okay, sure. Oh, actually a former general. So that's absolutely fine. All of these should still have reasonable leadership. They're going to need some work. Gold has been depleted in one of our locations, which is not ideal. But you are going to need a promotion. There we go. This guy is going to need a promotion. And he's actually going to need a second promotion. Cool. You're going to need a promotion. And that should be it. Okay. Looks solid. Of course, we're not going to be continuing to expand our army here, although, why do you have... Hang on. Get out of here. I don't want to have those line infantry here. Okay, cool. So we'll get those out of there. They were going to cost us some money there. 32, and then these line infantry of 14. You know what? Let's get rid of these. They're costing us money right now. And we're going to add in a number of these. So how many do we need? We've got 32 right now, so we would need 18. Okay. So we can just do 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, this should not be in cars. Hang on. This really shouldn't be in cars. We know that cars is a problem. Sort by job seekers. That's better. So let's do 10 here, and then another 8. There we go. But those are low priority. I'm not going to put those high up on the priority list here. Okay. So that's all fine for the moment. We're going to get a munitions plant completed in the next week here, which is good. And, of course, this is currently a small downsize of our military, but it's not going to be a huge benefit for us. It will definitely help. It'll help, but it's not going to be huge. And again, we can just build these barracks whenever we feel like we need them. Right now, we don't need them, and we don't want to pay for them. So that's okay for the moment. I do want to check in, now that we're constructing tooling workshops, I want to check in on what it might end up looking like if we go to mechanized looms for textile mills. Okay, so all that's going to do is reduce our number of laborers. Where are our textile mills? They're kind of spread all over. Noted. And then for bone china, of course, we want to reduce the price of glass. So maybe we should be on prioritized glass production. Actually, that's not helpful either. Being on ceramics is actually the right call there. Repeating rifles will be more tools, and it'll absolutely tank the price of small arms, which is already pretty low. So that's all reasonably fine. We had some investments going up. That is good. And we're finishing up more of these constructions. Excellent. Our steel mills and our tooling workshops are going to be finished up fairly soon. Steel is expensive. Explosives and ammunition are still considered expensive at this time. So I wouldn't mind, potentially, building a couple of additional munitions plants. We could build these in, say, Kuban. And then I would like to build a couple of, let's see, steel mills we're working on right now. We want more fertilizer plants. Although our fertilizers don't produce explosives. That's our big problem there. Our fertilizers do not yet produce explosives. No, they never will. Right, they split this out. I completely forgot. Fertilizer plants produce fertilizer now. Explosive plants produce explosives. I'm dumb. Okay, that's my own fault. I should have remembered that, but that did get changed. Okay, let's add in 5 of these in Transbaikal. So we're just going to move these guys up. And this is in Kuban. Okay, these do not need to be up on top. We're just going to do something like this. So these can be reduced down. Construction efficiency there will get better over time. So that'll be okay. If we check in here, yeah, there's some turmoil here, and law enforcement is going up. So that'll be helpful. Cool. So now we can take a look here. We can see we're at 42.6K in unrealized taxes. Looks good. We are still running a deficit, which is not necessarily shocking, given our current situation. The Great Hunger will time out in 14 months. And we're just continuing to work away on our constructions here. Now, currently, our interest is a big problem. There's no doubt about that. But I'm hoping to outpace our deficit here with our constructions. That's the goal. We'll see if it happens. An open hearth process is going to finish in 9 weeks, which is also going to be very, very beneficial for us, because that's going to increase our throughput from our steel mills. So once all of that gets done, that should be extraordinarily helpful. We're plus 162 right now. That number will probably go down. Yeah, that's what I expected. Okay, so that seems absolutely fine. We're not working very hard on this iron mine right now. It is low priority because we're working on the tooling workshops and the steel mills first. But that's all absolutely okay. Cool. I think we are outpacing our deficit broadly, overall. So I think our economic development is working here, which is good. This is the purpose of deficit spending, is to grow the economy, which is pretty much what we're seeing here. The economy isn't growing as quickly as we'd like to see, but a lot of that is just due to, A, the fact that I forgot that explosives factories were different. That's definitely not helpful. We ended up wasting a fair amount of construction on fertilizer factories, but whatever. We could definitely make an additional whaling station or 2, but I don't think there's a reason to do that right now. Oh, we can make a gold mine. We can make 2 of them. Do that. Top priority. Open hearth process has been unlocked. That looks good. So we can hop into our buildings here, and we can see what we have there. Okay, so that will require more iron consumption, and that's it. Do it. Yes, I know that that'll reduce for now, but that's fine. So next up, what are we going to want to grab here? Shift work? Honestly, I don't feel like we're hitting economy of scale caps right now. Maybe we go to dynamite. I think dynamite would be the way to go. So that'll be fine. We're going to get these gold mines finished up eventually. These iron mines are going to be worked on to offset the open hearth process additional consumption. So that'll be fine. I really do want these gold mines done as soon as possible. So we'll get those underway. Tooling workshop in Saratov just finishes up, and the steel mill in Saratov is going to finish up shortly too. So that all looks reasonably fine for the moment. What problems do we have right now? Ammunition is still considered expensive. It is trending a little bit downward, or it was. Now it's trending a little bit upward. Okay, so where are our munitions plants that we just built? In Moscow? I want to check in on Moscow and see what exactly do we have going on with our munitions plants here. Are they full on their employment? They are not. Okay, so I don't think we need to expand our munitions plants here. I really don't. We seem to be doing okay on that front. So that looks good. There was a boiler explosion. These events are simply the price of progress. Indeed. So our tooling workshop in Saratov is going to be finishing here, and now we are working entirely on the mines. But I think we're at the point now where we're going to be relatively constantly running a surplus, which is really good to see. Really, really good to see. We're going to get finished with these gold mines, get down to these explosives factories, and eventually to these munitions plants, but I don't think the munitions plants are that big of a deal, because the munitions plants in Moscow are going to expand, right? And they'll be able to meet whatever demand we end up having. So I'm not too concerned about that. Actually, we should probably just cancel these in that case. So that'll be reasonably fine. I do still want to get these explosives factories built up. That'll be a useful thing. But we're going to get these mines completed fairly soon, and that will be absolutely excellent for our economy. We can see now our economy is really starting to go up. So that is solid. Okay, we definitely still have these transportation input goods shortages, and we're going to need to deal with that. Market access issues in a number of locations, including Norland, which... it's because there aren't enough workers to work in this railway. Got it. Yeah, we simply don't have people here. There's, like, no one working anywhere except the construction sectors. And I kind of want to keep the construction sectors around, so we just need more population here. I mean, they're starving right now, and cutting taxes would be a good way to help that. No doubt about that. Hopefully, once we get these gold mines and iron mines finished, we'll be running a reasonable surplus. We really do want to start bringing down our interest payments as quickly as we can. It's going to be painful. No doubt about that. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to finish up these mine constructions and the railway, or rather the explosives factory constructions, and return to constructing all of this nonsense. We'll get there eventually. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kentogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.